こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は、リーズユナイテッドの田中碧に関する動画です。リーズユナイテッドは、プレミアリーグ第19節で、リバプールと対戦する予定です。リバプールファンのチャンネルである、Redmen TV のプレビュー動画では、記憶に新しいリーズ戦での悔しすぎる引き分けの試合から間もなく再戦するリッツを警戒しています。田中碧については、軽く触れている程度ですが、劇的な同点弾を浴びた印象も強かったのでしょうし、良い選手だと評価しています。実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょう。
Hey everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's your latest uncensored match build-up. This time ahead of Liverpool versus Leeds. Game will take place on New Year's Day, 5:30 kick-off at Anfield, Amsterdam Hall, joined by Dan Club and by Andy Bell to preview that big game. Straight off the bat, spoiler alert, this is a pre-recorded show. We are not live on New Year's Eve. So yeah, if anything's happened between 11:40 on Tuesday and by the time you hear or see this, that is why. But yeah, so about that one. It's probably why at the end of the show we won't be doing too many previews around the Premier League as well, because that game has already probably happened. Well done to Arsenal and Aston Villa for their win/draw. Leeds, Dan, I'll start with you. Interesting, Leeds were having a bit of a stinker. Yeah, Daniel Farke was absolutely under pressure. He was under pressure before the season. There was talk that, nice one for getting us promoted. We don't think you're very good at keeping teams up. You might go. And actually, he was proving all those doubters correct. Because the doubters, what was it? Fair play to me doubters, they were correct. That's what he was out, because they were having a bit of a stinker. They changed formation against Chelsea, went to like a back five, and since then their results have been mightily impressive. So they, of course, that come on the back of narrowly getting back into it against Manchester City the week before, by the way, but beat Chelsea at home, draw at home to Liverpool, as we know, draw at Brentford, beat Crystal Palace convincingly at home, draw away to Sunderland, and now they play us, and then they've got Man United and Newcastle on the horizon. So it's fair to say Leeds have gone from looking not nailed on for relegation, but they were certainly one of the bigger favourites. Actually, now they've got themselves out the relegation zone. The gap is a significant gap as well. It's been a little bit of a good turnaround for them since, again, that spirit to fight back against City onwards, really. But the change of formation feels like that was the key, that Farke's unlocked a little something with them.
Yeah, most definitely, yeah. And, keeping Dominic Calvert-Lewin out on the pitch, because he's obviously inspired a lot of what they've been able to do in recent weeks. But, credit to Daniel Farke, as you say, a lot of the noise from the media and inside his own fan base was starting to really sort of ramp up. And suggestions were that he was on borrowed time a little bit actually up at Leeds, and I think it was a little bit unfair, some of the pre-season speculation around his job, given what he just achieved with them, like racked up a silly amount of points to get them out of the Championship, and I think he deserved a crack at trying to keep them up at least, albeit his Premier League record prior to this wasn't particularly glowing. But no, you're right, and it's interesting, obviously you mentioned the Chelsea game there, which is obviously really the catalyst amongst a few in terms of how they managed to turn this around and sort of look like it might keep the head above water. But it was that half-time at the Etihad, because they were getting done, weren't they? And all of a sudden they come back out and looked a different beast. They made a couple of changes at half-time, both in terms of personnel and in terms of system, and they haven't really looked back since. And suddenly they're more competitive in games. They look more of a threat in an attacking sense as well. So he deserves a huge amount of credit for that, because not only has he potentially turned Leeds' season around, but he certainly saved his own skin a little bit as well.
It's interesting as well, Andy, because that change of formation going to the back five, and it's made them a bit more solid in theory. It's made them actually attacking set pieces. Maybe it makes that a little bit easier as well. It gets them their width from out wide. The interesting one is Rodon went off injured against Sunderland, and when obviously they were 1-0 down, I think when that happens, but he brings on Tanaka and brings on a midfielder and goes to a back four. And I was reading a little bit this morning, like Leeds journalists, fans maybe aren't quite too sure if he'll stick with the back three now, because Rodon was so important to it, and they're not quite sure about backups and stuff. It'll be interesting whether he does, because you'd imagine he doesn't want to change away from the formation that's brought so much success, but with an injury, an ankle injury, he's not going to play for a few weeks. The change to going to Anfield and saying, you know what, we're going to take one defender off the pitch and put a midfielder on it, it feels a bit counterproductive. So they might have to try and bring in a different player there and maybe stick with it. It feels like that could be the best option. But listen, Tanaka's a good player as well, so it'll be interesting to see what they do there.
Yeah, Tanaka's a very good player, covers loads and loads of ground. Yeah. All three other midfielders do. Presumably it will be Ampadu, Tanaka and Stack. And like Stack's just...
Or Aronson, by the way.
Or Aronson had a great game, yeah, on the weekend as well. So they've got options there. All seem to have worked out how to make it very difficult to to play against if you're in the sort of bottom 5 or 6 teams in the Premier League. They've worked out a way just making it really, really difficult for every team in every game and being effective. And like you say, Dan, that's not what we expect from Daniel Farke. We're used to seeing his naive Norwich teams ship goals and go down with a whimper. And if you'd given me £100 at the start of the season and said you have to put this on the first manager to be sacked, it would have absolutely all gone. £1 million drop, Davina McCall style, on Daniel Farke. But he's proven me wrong. He's created a team, I think, full of massive lads. I don't think any of his signings in the summer were under 6 foot. And he's made them very, very difficult to play against, and they're a horrible side to play against. And we saw that at Ellen Road. Well, obviously, you know, we're comfortable for a while in that game until we're totally not. And the minute there was any adversity, they were fantastic. But they do the other side of the game very well as well. The goal they score against Sunderland is a clinic in playing out from the back, and nobody does anything outstanding, but it's a really easy but beautiful in the eye goal. So it'll be interesting to see who comes in. I think Bijol is around, isn't he?
It's Bijol, Strutt and Rodon's. That's been the threes built this all on, but now Rodon's injured. It'll be interesting, like I say.
I thought Bijol, I didn't realise Bijol started the weekend.
No, they brought him in recently. He's been sort of, again, amongst...
Since that was the back three change.
He is a threat from set pieces as well.
But Joe Roden is as well, so they'll miss that.
Yeah, and obviously, as we know, I think literally in the last hour, as we're recording, our set piece coach has left. For him, I actually feel very sorry for, because it was never supposed to be his job in the first place, and he's put his hand up and he said, I'll have a go. So I think that's quite harsh, but that's a different story. Let's see if there's any change this weekend. But they're a team who, like you say, come down from 2-0 against us, come down from 2-0 against City, come down from 1-0 the weekend. We know Liverpool don't have games wrapped up at 1 or 2-0, but certainly against Leeds we don't. So this is going to be one that will go right to the wire, I think.
次は解説です。今回はあまり難しいボキャブラリーはありませんでしたが、比喩的な表現やネイティブらしい表現もありましたので、本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。And then they've got Man United and Newcastle on the horizon. So,
on the horizon は近い将来に起こりそうな出来事を表す表現です。もともとは地平線に何かが見えてくるイメージから来ています。まだ始まってはいませんが、すでに予測できる段階にある時に使います。サッカーでは、これから控えている試合や、厳しい日程を指すことが多いです。カミングアップよりも、少しフォーマルで解説向きの表現です。ニュースやスポーツ記事でも非常によく使われます。今後の展開を語るときに便利なフレーズです。
And then they've got Man United and Newcastle on the horizon. So, and then they've got Man United and Newcastle on the horizon. So,
he was on borrowed time a little bit actually up at Leeds. And
on borrowed time はもう終わる運命にあるが、今は一時的に続いている状態を表します。本来返さなければならない時間を借りているという比喩から来ています。スポーツでは解任寸前の監督や立場の危うい選手に対してよく使われます。単なるプレッシャーがあるよりも終わりが近いことを強く示します。今回の文脈では、監督の将来がほぼ決まっているという評価を表しています。解説やコラムで非常に品質する表現です。
He was on borrowed time a little bit actually up at Leeds. He was on borrowed time a little bit actually up at Leeds and racked up a silly amount of points to get them out of the championship.
ラックアップは数や実績を時間とともに積み上げていくときに使われる駆動詞です。スポーツでは、勝ち点やゴール勝利数を量産する場面でよく登場します。ゲットやウーンよりも結果がどんどん増えていく感覚を強調します。良い意味でも悪い意味でも使えるのが特徴です。例えば借金や罰金を増やす場合にも使われます。今回の文脈では短期間で非常に多くの勝ち点を稼いだことを表しています。実況や解説、ニュース英語で品質する便利な表現です。
Like racked up a silly amount of points to get them out of the championship. Like racked up a silly amount of points to get them out of the championship. But he certainly saved his own skin a little bit as well.
Save one's own skin は自分の立場や仕事を守るために行動することを意味します。直訳すると自分の皮膚を守るですが、比喩表現です。スポーツでは解任が近い監督について使われることが多い表現です。必ずしも褒め言葉ではなく、保身的だという批判を含む場合があります。今回の文脈では、監督が結果を出して自分の立場を守ったという意味です。解説やコラムでよく使われる表現です。
But he certainly saved his own skin a little bit as well. But he certainly saved his own skin a little bit as well.
It feels a bit counterproductive. So,
counterproductive は、良かれと思ってしたことが、逆に悪い結果を生むことを表します。目的と結果が噛み合っていない状態を指します。スポーツでは、 交代や戦術変更が裏目に出そうな時によく使われます。感情的な行動や短期的な判断に対して使われることが多い表現です。今回の文脈では、守備を減らす判断がかえって危険だという意味になります。解説やニュース、ビジネス英語でも品質する単語です。
It feels a bit counterproductive, so
ship goes and go down with a whimper.
with whimper は盛り上がりもなく静かに終わることを表す比喩表現です。whimper は弱々しく鳴く声を意味します。スポーツでは抵抗できずに敗退や降格した場面でよく使われます。期待が大きかった分、失望や皮肉のニュアンスが強くなります。解説やコラムで品質する印象的な表現です。
Ship goes and go down with a whimper. Ship goes and go down with a whimper. £1,000,000 drop, Davina McCall style on Daniel Farke.
The Million Pound Drop はイギリスの人気クイズ番組です。出演者は100万ポンドをかけて質問に挑みます。間違えるとお金が床の穴から落ちる演出が特徴です。この番組名は全額を一気にかけるという比喩として使われます。今回の文脈では最初に解任される監督としてファルケに全額かけるという意味です。イギリス英語特有の文化的な比喩表現です。
£1,000,000 drop, Davina McCall style on Daniel Farke. £1,000,000 drop, Davina McCall style on Daniel Farke. This is going to be one that will go right to the wire, I think.
Go to the wire は勝負や結果が最後まで決まらない状況を表すイディオムです。語源は競馬で、ゴール前に張られたワイヤーまで勝負が続くことから来ています。スポーツでは、接戦や白熱した試合でよく使われます。right をつけて、go right to wire というと、強調になります。試合だけでなく、交渉や締め切りの話にも使えます。実況や解説、ニュース記事で品質する便利な表現です。
This is going to be one that will go right to the wire, I think. This is going to be one that will go right to the wire, I think.
いかがでしたか？田中碧については、前の試合での劇的同点弾の印象はとても強かったでしょう。リーズ自体の復調の過程や、最近の好調さが明らかに印象的なものだったのが伝わります。その中で、特にフォーメーションを変更したことが、復調の大きなきっかけとなり、一方でロードンの負傷によって、アンパドゥがディフェンスラインに下がって、田中碧が中盤に入るような、リーズファンが考えているようなものをイメージしているのでしょう。実際には、リーズファンもどういう人選で臨むのか、どのフォーメーションで行くのかわからないといったところですが、個人的には、ただただ中青を使ってほしいということだけですので、それを期待して楽しみにしたいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。